What is going on, Charles Botensten? Obviously, we're here in my office. Hi, how's it going? It's Ty Lopez. I'm here in my garage. So essentially, this is something that I really feel like is. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I've heard it from other people, but I kind of want to just put a hashtag on it. I feel like this might actually become a legacy of mine. So I just want to go over it really quick. So essentially every 90 days, and I was actually watching a great video by Dan Sullivan. Dan Sullivan is the CEO and founder of Strategic Coach. Highly recommend you go on there and you check it out. However, in there, it's an hour and a half video, and I've been putting it off for a while. And essentially in there, he says, actually, it wasn't him. It was one of the entrepreneurs, and his classes are about 10,000 a class. So they're quite expensive. It might be a 1-day intensive or 2-day intensive. I don't understand how long it's going to be. However, one of the entrepreneurs in there that took the class said something very interesting on the microphone. He said every 90 days you have to reset. From another end, he was a very successful entrepreneur. And then obviously if you're spending, I think his revenue was in excess of $500,000 himself, and he was just going to 10x levels and whatnot. And then I heard from someone else, you obviously start, stop, and continue doing. I think that's part of the Rockefeller habits. So if you combine those two concepts, every 90 days, you have to actually do a reset. And if you want to take inventory of your life, your business, your career, your relationships, whatever, a great thing that we actually ask our clients is, what do you think that we should continue doing? What do you think we should stop doing? And what do you think we should start doing? Okay. And then when we actually ask our clients that and we start getting feedback, we understand there's a lot of improvement that can actually happen in our lives. So I actually just did it. I'll give you what my 3 things are. So the first one is, what do I want to continue doing? So obviously it's a new year. Understandably so, is that there's a lot of people that are apprehensive about maybe going after their goals for a multitude of reasons. The first one is that they may have not even started. It's January 9th. That's it. And a lot of people are like, well, I didn't even start, so I'm not even going to start. Or, should I wait till next year, even though this year just started? So the first thing is, what am I going to continue doing? So essentially what I'm doing is putting this out not only onto paper, which is right here, but I'm also putting it into the universe, and it's also more of an accountability tool to my brain, myself, to you guys, and hopefully you guys, every 90 days, you do your own inventory. So you want to start now and you want to write it down. I'm actually going to translate it into a Google Doc right behind me, Google Doc file. So the first one is, what am I going to continue doing? The first one is removing distractions. Removing distractions. I've noticed an exponential growth in my mind and how much freedom I actually have in my mind as I started removing myself from bad content, from news and politics, from bad YouTube videos, from channels that don't even push my business further, distractions on my phone with apps and websites, and blocking things and tracking things. Where do I spend my time? So you have to track your time, number one. Number two is you have to then, once you track your time, then you manage your time and then create your time. So essentially, removing distractions was the biggest thing. So once I remove all the distractions, then I can actually manage my time and then create my time. So that's the first one. Number two is curating the content, which essentially anything that goes into my ears, my eyes, anything I watch or anything I hear, whether that's audiobooks or podcasts or whatever, I'm gonna make sure it's only the best. Okay, I've up until I had like a FOMO kind of mindset, which is the fear of missing out on any kind of knowledge or content. Now I'm like, no, you got to curate what you read, what you listen to. Next, tracking my money. Obviously, this is a big thing. I want to take my business to the next level. Obviously, things are also slowing down here in the real estate market, which is a big deal. So tracking my money. Weighing gratifications. This is a big thing for me, is that, and I actually did it yesterday. I said, should I do this or should I do this? Okay, so in other words, one was an immediate gratification, and the other one was, if I don't do this right now, so essentially I think it was watch a video or journal what I want my life to look like. So the immediate gratification was watch a video. In other words, watch a YouTube video. So they're both kind of good, but one, which is journaling how I want my life to be, is clearly better than watching a YouTube video. So weighing immediate gratifications, which is long-term versus obviously immediate term, and then making commitments. Making commitments is, I would say if you really want to try, if you really want to build a habit, I would say making a commitment and then holding yourself accountable, holding myself accountable right now. For you guys, it could be going live and making sales calls. It could be sending a check to someone that says, if I don't go to the gym a certain amount of, and it's yours. It's not for me. You write it to maybe a politician that you don't agree with, and then they actually cash it. This is a very interesting thing. So I was talking to the manager at my gym, and I said there's studies that if as long as you can actually get the person to the gym for 18 days, they will continue becoming a member and going and everything else. And he said actually Equinox, which is the gym I go to, they have a program that they say if you check in 8 times the first month, then they'll give you your initiation feedback. And they know that. They know that if you go, you're most likely to stick to it. So it's not that people don't actually have the motivation. They don't actually go to the gym. So that's really what it comes down to. And once you start going for a year, I've been a member since 2013. I've given them tens of thousands of dollars probably by now. So that's my continue doing. Start doing is recognizing micro avoidances. So micro avoidance, essentially, I actually made a video about this. This is a very powerful concept that I recently read about. So essentially, when you avoid doing something really, really small, like complimenting someone on their suit. Okay, someone at the gym had a really good suit on, and the thing is, if you don't do that, then you're probably not going to start the conversation with the cashier. If you don't start the conversation with the cashier, you're probably not going to, I don't know, say hi to your doorman. Or, these small little micro avoidances actually lead into massive things. Making a sales call, approaching that pretty girl, asking for the sale, handling an objection correctly, being bold. So I need to start understanding and recognizing when I am avoiding something. Micro avoidances, that's what it's called. The doorway effect. This is something that I brought up a while ago, which is when you walk through a doorway, reset yourself. In other words, sometimes when I walk out into the real world, I am not present. I just walk out and then boom, the real world is there. Obviously in New York City, it's a little bit different because we have millions of people here. However, the doorway effect means like reset anytime you walk through a doorway. Consistent sleep pattern, very important to start doing. Morning routine, start doing that again. Stop doing, which is snoozing my alarm. This is something that I've been really working on, so that has to do with starting a consistent sleep pattern. Obviously, as I get into training for this triathlon, I'm going to have to really dial in my time, my nutrition, my energy, my training. Everything is going to have to just be spot on. So that has to do with commitment and accountability, hiring my coach. So I highly recommend you guys do this. It's really helped because if you just go and then it's, I don't know, May 1st. And like, well, what happened? Where'd this year go? Because you're not taking inventory. So this is as much as it is for you, is that I'm taking inventory of my life. Those are the current things that I need to continue doing, start doing, and stop doing. You guys write it down, then you put it up on a Google spreadsheet or Google Doc, and then essentially you just go back and you say, okay, what did I do in Q1 of 2019, Q2 of 2019, Q3, and then you keep on going, and then you start looking back and you say, holy shit. And as this guy right here, Brian Johnson, who I highly recommend you go and check him out. He's amazing. He's a philosopher. Optimize.me is his website, optimize.me. And essentially, he says, once you start the habits, have that as your new baseline. Have that as your new baseline. So in other words, if your new baseline is waking up at a certain time, have that as your baseline and only improve it. If you go to the gym 3 days a week, have that as your baseline. That's the minimum. Then you go to 4 days, then you go to 5, or eating something at lunch, or having more water, which is extremely powerful and important to replenishing your body, having the energy, flushing things out. It's just the benefits are astronomical. All right, so every 90, start